the question was that my talk has been mostly in the biological indicators, dissolved oxygen, et cetera. And so Jim was asking if I could talk just a little bit about the chemical pollutants that happened over the decades in the Willamette Watershed. And so I'm going to back up to a slide. There's one slide in particular that has a little bit in there that I can reference. Whoops. So I don't know, hopefully people could see this, but that number 4, other criteria, I flashed this up as a slide, but I didn't say anything about it. So in these earlier decades, and even to this day, turbidity, temperature, pH, there's other measurements that scientists are concerned with as well. But it wasn't until my earliest research finds that it wasn't until, and this makes sense actually when you think about it, but it wasn't until the late 50s or so when sanitary engineers started to think, oh wait, what about radiological pollution? We have to deal with that. And then the interesting point I go more into in my book is that dioxin from Agent Orange, for example, wasn't considered. In previous decades, it was a kind of an not completely identified public health threat for workers who worked with chemical solvents and shipyards and stuff like that, manufacturing. It wasn't until the early 1970s, late 1960s, when dioxins became an issue with Agent Orange in Vietnam, and then herbicides that were used here in Oregon in the Doug fir forest up until into the 1980s. But it wasn't until the mid to late 1980s that dioxins were identified specifically with pulp and paper pollution. There's certain kinds of processes combined with bleach that create dioxins. So that, in a nutshell, is one aspect of how the consciousness about these kinds of pollutants evolved slowly over time.